We've never witnessed this in history. Silver hits $50 three times. What is it telling us? Something's happening. Let's talk about it. Okay, so want to take a minute, share my thoughts. $50 silver. Interesting times, say the least. Very, 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 very interesting times. And where will it end up today? We'll find out. But there's lots of excitement in reference to the current unraveling of the monetary system. And for those that have been prepared and have taken a position of what I consider to be the most true, tried and tested wealth preservation tool ever, which is silver, are in better position than those who don't. And that's approximately 99.99% of other people who do not know what's happening right now. We are in the midst of the reset. But then again, it's not about the doom and gloom. It's more so about just taking advantage of opportunity as they present themselves. So I'm going to get into that right now. And as always, for those who are plugged in, definitely, if you want to hear more of these, definitely hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Definitely trying to get more involved with the community and share my 2 cents on what I'm keeping my eyes on. But let's just jump right into it, man. So I just want to start off with something that caught my attention on Zero Hedge. So as I go here, this is what we're looking at. So it says here, this is from Zero Hedge, literally not long ago. It said, let me get my screen together. It says, "Dear Silver Shorts, we suggest you panic." And this is literally just them showing current activity of the sudden surge, putting pressure on those that thought they were smarter than the markets and could try to short it in attempt to make a profit off of this silver market activity. But someone's going to be proven wrong. And as of right now, it looks like those who have physical possession in their hand are winning this charge. But it's still early. Don't want to get everybody too amped up. But we're witnessing something that I couldn't have imagined would have taken place so fast. But then again, it's just not silver. Let me give you a look at everything that's happening. So right now, as of early morning, we got gold doing well in the green. We got silver. We got copper, platinum, palladium, crude, Brent, everything around me and associated with real wealth that comes from the ground is in the green right now. And so ultimately, what is that telling us? That is literally, to me, signaling that confidence in fiat is failing. And so literally the holders of these instruments here are the ones that uh, will experience the greatest shock. Just because if your entire life is centered around and priced in a fiat currency, they always fail. So therefore, the holders are the ones that end up on the losing side of those trades, or in that trade for that matter. And so, man, there's just so much going on right now. And of course, we got some interesting developments in Bitcoin. I'm seeing Anthony, the Treasury Secretary Bessent, out here mentioning that the U.S. is going to definitely put more Bitcoin on their balance sheet. At the same time, silver is surging, and so I'm not sure if is this a way of the U.S. distracting the masses from the historical nature of silver and what we're witnessing here, or what. But once again, when you see stuff like this, let me go back to my initial chart here. When you see stuff like this, it's just things that should really make you wonder. What if the United States government acknowledged silver? What if the mainstream media spotlighted silver and this historical precedent that's being set it when it comes to the recapitalization of the monetary structure with real tangible wealth, more than likely spurred on by the Eastern Hemisphere? But then again, clearly, when I saw an article just a moment ago that referenced tungsten, let me show you this one. This is a doozy here. These are just things to pay attention to because this is what's happening in the real world despite what we're being sold. So when it says rising tungsten prices worsen oil drillers' inflation worries. So literally the cost of getting oil out the ground is becoming more expensive in and of itself because all the little intricate details to do such are starting to hit the producers. And so literally tungsten used to fake metals for you see gold bars wrapped in tungsten, you see silver dipped in tungsten, and then now the drill bits for the oil refineries and everything to do with getting into the ground are made of tungsten, and the price going up, therefore their cost goes up, therefore they're going to have to transfer that to the actual price of a barrel of oil. And so literally we're witnessing the actual symptom of a failing currency, which is everything around us goes up. And that is just something to pay attention to. So everything I just showed you in this chart of assets that are going up, clearly this is the place where people should have been a long time ago. And on top of that, there's other ways to, literally position yourself so that you're not a casualty of the currency destruction, but you can be a benefactor of asset price appreciation, as every single Federal Reserve note will be accounted for in the form of green on a screen when it comes to real world wealth. And so that is something that you must pay attention to. Okay, on another note, let's get into some other activity in reference to the Bitcoin space, because that is where things are being steered towards, and being positioned there in the midst of fiat destruction will probably pay off as well, because anything that has properties of scarcity or anything in between will more than likely be going up in USD terms. But it's only temporarily before people realize and catch on that it's actually the USD that is the problem and not anything else that we have been told or sold. But it says U.S. Treasury plans to continue accumulating Bitcoin. Treasury Secretary discussed at a private dinner with Clean Spark executives. So just being skeptical. Private dinner, but the information came out that the U.S. Treasury planned on buying Bitcoin. And this drops the same time frame, same day, around the gold to silver momentum. Just things to make you wonder. But giving you an idea, it's a little snippet of what's this about. It says here, U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent reportedly discussed plans for government to continue accumulating Bitcoin during a private meeting in the industry executives. Says the U.S. currently holds about $17 billion in Bitcoin and does not plan to sell it, Bessent reiterated. Then he goes and says, according to a post from Schultz, the conversation touched on the crypto market structure bill, which is going to be very exciting, because that is going to create the ultimate digital asset pumped that we've never could have imagined, spurred on clearly by government, the U.S. economy, and the strategic Bitcoin reserve. So as of right now, it looks like the strategic Bitcoin reserve is still a primary topic that will be discussed. And of course, all the maxis are going to love it, run into it, and not realizing that, not only will Bitcoin benefit, but rising tide rises all ships. So every Bitcoin lookalike, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Gold, some Bitcoin meme coins will probably pump as a result of just the narrative of Bitcoin, because the other portion of the population that have no position will will FOMO in, and most people will be concerned with price, because at that point Bitcoin will probably be 175,000 ish. Let me just check and see where it's at right now. Let me refresh my screen, and as of right now, as we see here on the screen, Bitcoin is at $122,000. And it's good to say that as more momentum picks up in Bitcoin, we're going to see the numero uno continue to climb higher. And as it climbs higher, everything else will follow suit, because there will be an influx of capital into these markets. And therein lies the opportunity to be a benefactor. Okay, let me get back to the main article. It says that Schultz described, let me go back so you can see what I'm seeing. It says Schultz described the meeting as a sign of growing engagement between senior U.S. policymakers and the Bitcoin mining sector. The U.S. has positioned itself as a hub for digital assets, with Bessent confirming plans to retain and expand government Bitcoin holdings amid growing institutional adoption of the cryptocurrency. And then here's another big move right here. It says Luxembourg claims bragging rights as the first Eurozone nation to invest in Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin is the preferred nation of a nation state outside of El Salvador and a couple other little smaller nations that appear to be adding Bitcoin. It says here, Luxembourg Wealth Fund has invested a 1% sliver of its holdings into Bitcoin ETFs, making its first state-level fund in the Eurozone to do so, according to a representative of the Agency of Development of Luxembourg's Financial Center. It says European nationals, nations Finland, Georgia, and the UK also hold Bitcoin, although most of the crypto is sourced from criminal seizures, according to Bitbo. And so we have a nation state taking exposure. The only difference is they're actually doing it through an ETF, more than likely one of the big players, either in a Western Hemisphere, i.e., BlackRock or one of those other products, and so it's not direct positioning in Bitcoin, but it's exposure to Bitcoin. So these are some things that are happening right now, but where's the opportunity? That's probably what you guys are concerned, or interested in most. Where's the opportunity? As I showed you on that chart of all the other asset classes, anything tangible, real from the earth that's limited and that humanity needs, obviously, will require more units to obtain them. So literally knowing that there's going to be a race to secure resources, whether it be rare minerals, just metals in general, agriculture, soybeans, you name it, that's where the currency will flood to because people need them. And so as far as the strategic actual places to go, I'm actually going to start sharing with you more things as I come across it, and as I look for little small tidbits, ways to throw some darts out there, because at this current moment, before the liquidity spigot is cut back on by the Federal Reserve, when they cut and our country borrows and it spurs mal investment, there's going to be new tranches of cash looking for what's considered untapped or underappreciated monetary wealth transfer vehicles, aka assets. So that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But once again, silver 50, Bitcoin Treasury about to pick up, and the currency will definitely follow suit, because what all this indicates to me that we're in a crisis and something has broke, and now we're going to find out what it is. But in the meantime, anchor down, buckle down, make sure you get yourself where you need to be. And for those who might be new, you never know who's coming across the channel for the first time, I want to make sure I continue to remind people where you should be, how to get there. So best way to do it is to focus on accumulating bit by bit the most affordable thing that you can. And of course, that happens to be gold. So for those who might be new, you never know. But on the screen here, as you guys can see, we have what is considered to be the most affordable and yet barterable and spendable gold. And it is simply the buygoldnotes.com. 24 karat gold notes, just for those who may not, really believe this is just, some. But anyway, having those in my possession has allowed me to absorb this to provide me more potential purchasing power when it's time to divvy things out. So just go to buygoldnotes.com if you're interested. Just a good way to diversify. And then last, we'll make sure I remind people of the way to get involved with silver directly. Right now is a good time to become your own silver distributor. And so the Quick Silver Wealth Accelerator program is the best way to do that, because it's something that you can control. You get your own store once you set up your dollar cost average of what you can afford, whether it's 1 up to 10 ounces, shipped to you directly where you can get physical, and then share your information. You don't have to have inventory. You just share your link. People purchase. You be compensated for your efforts. They get weight. You get fiat that you can turn back into silver. And that's just a good win-win for everybody involved. So if you're interested, definitely go to mysilverteam.com. Links in the description. Check it out. Definitely would love to work with you. I will help you, walk you through on how to make this happen so that you can take a part of what we're experiencing right now, because things are happening in real time, and I'm sure you don't want to miss out if you haven't already. But anyway, be blessed, be safe, subscribe. Catch you guys later.